Hey there, hope you're doing okay. My name is Jerome, and this is the first of several videos that I'm going to be doing from now on. Just random tutorials, IT related, of some things that I know and would love to share with you as well. So I'm going to start off by showing you different techniques that hackers could try to gain access to your internet accounts, whether it's your social media accounts or some other web applications that you sign up to and have an account with. I'm going to show you how to do it. And most importantly, I'm going to show you some security measures that you can take in order to protect your accounts from these hackers. I'm going to focus on social media accounts, and Facebook will be used for our demo since almost everyone has Facebook account, but the same applies to every other internet account you may have. But before we proceed, I want to let you know that everything I'm going to show you in this video is for educational purpose. So please do not try any of the techniques on another person's account, especially without permission. It's unethical and you could get into trouble for doing that, and I won't be responsible for your action. The goal of this video is not to teach you hacking, even though I'm going to show you some of the techniques that those hackers use so you can be able to identify them when someone is trying to hack your account. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the hacking process. And just as I told you not to try to hack another person's account without permission, since it is wrong, I'm also going to follow the same rule. That's why I have created a special Facebook account that I'm going to use throughout the video. As you can see, this is the Facebook account of Blamando, an account that I myself created just for the purpose of this video. And this is the account I'll be trying to hack using the different techniques I'm going to show you. So you heard me say try or trying to hack, and that's because hackers are not always successful in the process, especially when the target is knowledgeable of their different hacking techniques like I intend to show you. And also, if the account provider or host, in our case Facebook, has its own security measures in place against some of those attacks. And you'll notice that the second technique I'm going to show you will not work. That's because Facebook now has a strong security measure in place that blocks brute force attacks. However, I'm still going to show you all these different techniques so you'll be aware of them, because they might just work on some other accounts you may have. So I'll just log out for now and pretend as if I don't know the login credentials to this account, so I can try different hacking techniques in order to gain access to the account. The first technique I'm going to try is the most common one, and that is making use of the forgotten password option on the login form. For the second technique, I'm going to try to perform a brute force attack. After that, I will also use another technique called phishing. And for the last technique I'm going to show you, I'm going to create a malicious app that I will send to the target, which is Blamando, and once he installs it on his phone, I'm going to gain access to the entire phone, and I could do anything that can be done on the phone as if I was physically handling the phone. And I could use that chance to check his browser history and even retrieve saved passwords that the browser keeps whenever you click on Remember Me or Keep Me Logged In when you log into your account. So let's now begin with the first technique, the forgotten password option. But before I do anything, I need to get certain information about the target, which is Blamando. That's why the first phase of hacking is reconnaissance or information gathering. The information you will need may vary depending on the kind of attack you want to carry out. but during every hacking, you will need certain information about your target. In this case, the information I need is Blamondor's Facebook username or ID, or his verified email address or phone number that is linked to his account, because he can use any of them along with the correct password to log into his account. Since I do not know his password for which I'm trying to hack his account, I need to know at least one of those information. And the good thing about it, they are public information, especially the username or ID. For his email address and mobile phone number, he could choose to make them private in his profile setting, but the username or ID is always public. As you can see, this is my own unique Facebook username, and the entire link facebook.com/myusername is my direct Facebook profile link, and anyone viewing my Facebook profile page can see my username, so it's also public. So let me try logging into Blamondor's account again, this time around with his Facebook ID and password instead of his phone number and password. And you see that I can still log into the account. So I'll log out again, and now let's just assume that I don't know the password to this account. I only know the Facebook ID and mobile phone number. So let's start with the first technique, the forgotten password option, which is the most common and easiest technique you can try, since this doesn't require any program or tool, but it's just an option that is there even for the real user of the account to make use of. You know, we are humans and we forget sometimes, so it's just an option that is there for even the real user of the account to make use of in case he forgets his password. The only thing is that Facebook is going to perform some security check to verify that the account belongs to you before you can proceed to changing the password. And that makes sense, because if that wasn't the case, anyone could just go to Facebook and change other users' passwords. So you will have to prove that the account belongs to you by entering a security code that will be sent either to your verified mobile phone number or email address that is linked to your account. Usually the email address or mobile phone that you use to create your account. But hackers could take advantage of this option and just use some social engineering tactics and convince you to give them the code, which they will now use to verify and continue the process successfully. Now the hacker has gained access to your account. The first thing the hacker will want to do is to go to your profile settings and change the email address or mobile phone number that receives the verification code. So you, the real user of the account, won't be able to recover your account using the same technique, because the code will then go to the hacker's email address or phone number, which you know you won't get easily because the hacker is also aware of the trick. So the way you protect your account from this technique is to never share the OTP or security code that you will receive for any of your accounts to anyone that will call or text you asking for it. And once you know that you are not doing any settings to your account that requires a verification code, and you receive a code, that should alert you that someone else is trying to access your account. Now let's move on to the second technique, and that is the brute force attack. Remember, I told you that this will not work, but let's just give it a try and see how it is done. So brute force attack, in a simple explanation, is just an advanced way of giving a computer program a list of different passwords, sometimes username and passwords, so the program can help you point out the correct username and password that might be in the list that you provided. So it's just like using trial and error method to guess the username and password, or just the password in case you already know the username for the account that you're trying to gain access to.
The password list could be any number of passwords, even billions. And because computers are fast, the computer program can try them faster compared to you sitting and trying each of those passwords one at a time. So let's try out the brute force attack. And I'm going to be using a tool that I got from GitHub, and it's called Social Media Hacking Toolkit, or SMH for short. And shout out to the developer Redcats. And just how I gave a disclaimer in the intro of this video, it's the same way the developers of these different tools that I'm going to use will tell you that their tools are just for learning purpose, and you should not use them for any illegal attack. So I'll navigate to my hacking tools directory so I can run the tool I'm going to use for the brute force attack. This is the program smh.py, written in the Python programming language, and this is the program that I'm going to be using, along with this RockQ text file, which contains a list of different words that I'm going to try as passwords, along with Blamando's username or ID, with the hope that one of them could be the correct password. First, let's preview this RockQ.txt file and see what's in it, and later I'll add the correct password to the list and see if the program is going to tell us the correct password. So you see, there are a lot of words here, and you can even add more if you choose to. Now just watch how I use the program to perform the brute force attack. So I'm going to run this program, smh.py, and I'm going to provide Blamando's Facebook user ID and use this password file, RockQ.txt. So I'll run the program, choose Facebook, select brute force, set VPN off or on for privacy, then enter the account username or email address, and enter the full path to the password file. But since the file is in the same directory of the program, I'll just type the file name. And the program is going to try a test login with the username and each of the words in the word list as a password. I'll just stop the process because I know that the correct password is not in this word list. So I will now add the correct password to the list and try again. So you see, the program was not able to log in even with the correct password in the list, because Facebook by default is protecting the account from this attack. But don't be too happy about this, because hackers are smart people and they are always trying to find a way to bypass things. There might just be an update of this program, or there is probably already a program that exists that could successfully brute force your Facebook account. So the way you protect your account from this attack is to always set a very strong password for your different accounts, something that is hard to guess, because this technique is all about trying to guess your password. And another thing you must do to protect your accounts from this attack is to enable two-factor authentication or two-step verification, as it is called on some other websites. For now, Blamando's account doesn't have two-factor authentication enabled, and I'm keeping it off on purpose for our last hacking technique before I can show you how to enable it. And now let's move on to the phishing technique. This technique is another advanced one that a hacker could use to deceiving you in entering your login credentials on a website that you think is the real website. The hacker will send you the link of a website that is an exact clone or copy of the official website. And once you enter your login credentials on the fake website, thinking it's the real website, the hacker will capture those information behind the scene and will use them on the real website to log into your account. So let me just show you an example before we continue with the process. As you can see, I have two tabs open in the browser, and each of them displaying the Facebook login page. One of them is the real Facebook login page, and the other is the fake one. But if you cannot identify the difference between these two pages, you will not know which one is the fake one, because their contents look exactly the same. But the difference is that this page has the official domain name of Facebook, facebook.com, and this one has an IP address with some text. And another thing is that this real Facebook page has this lock which says connection secure, but this fake one doesn't have. But don't be too happy that you can only tell by these few things that I show you, because as I told you earlier, hackers are smart people, and once they know you are aware of their tricks, they will always try to find another strategy. So the hacker could mask the phishing link to look almost like the real Facebook link, with even the HTTPS secure connection. So let's see how we can use this technique to get Blamando's login information. And of course, you will have to use your social engineering skills to send the link to Blamando and convince him anyhow you can to follow your link and log into his account. So the tools I'll be using for this technique are Zephyr and Parfisher. They are all for the same purpose, except that Parfisher is a little bit more advanced in code, and I can even use it to steal the security code that will also be required to log in if two-factor authentication is enabled. I can use only Parfisher to complete the entire technique, but I'm going to use Zephyr with two-factor authentication off. And when I enable two-factor authentication, I'm going to use Parfisher so I can also steal the security code. And I'm not a robot, by the way, just for the tutorial. So I'll go ahead and run the Zephyr tool. And as you can see, this tool was created by HTR Tech. Shout out to Tamit Rayad. And this tool has up to 35 templates of different websites. You see there's Facebook, Instagram, you have PayPal, TikTok, even WordPress website, and there are a lot of other templates. But I will select Facebook, of course. Go with the traditional login page, and you can see there's template also for voting pool, which you can select to trick the target to participate in a simple voting pool. And before submitting the votes, he will have to sign in with his Facebook account. And for the port forwarding, I'll just choose localhost, since I won't be sending the link to anyone on another network. These are options for generating an HTTPS link, and it's useful when the target is on another network, which will most likely be the case. But I'll just go with localhost. And I'll use the default port 80. So this is the link I can now send to Blamando, either by email or messenger chat or any means that I can use, and convince him to follow the link and log in with his Facebook account. And I'll be on the other end waiting to capture the login information. And as soon as I get them, I'll just go to the real Facebook website and log in with those details, assuming that two-factor authentication is not enabled. Now as Blamando, I will follow this link and log in with my Facebook login details, and you see what happens. So you see, Blamando just ignorantly provided me his login information because he thought he was entering them on the real Facebook website. Now I have his username or phone number and password in plain text, which I can use and go to the real Facebook website and log into his account, assuming that two-factor authentication is not enabled. So here I am again into Blamando's account after successfully phishing his login information. And it was easy to just log in with them since I didn't have to enter any security code because two-factor authentication for this account is not enabled. Since I'm already logged into the account, I'll go ahead and turn on two-factor authentication so you can see how it is still possible with the PowerPhisher tool to get the security code from Blamando if I manage to make him fall to this technique. And remember, I'm still on the phishing technique. So from the security and login settings, I will go ahead and turn on two-factor authentication. Turning on two-factor authentication will enable a second security check for logging into your account, where if someone even manages to guess your password, that person will still have to enter a security code that will be sent to your account email address or phone number. And once that person doesn't have access to your email account or mobile phone, the person will not proceed to log into your account. So you have three options for turning on your Facebook account two-factor authentication. You could choose to use an authentication app like Google Authenticator, and this is the recommended option. You can use the security key option, or you could receive the code by text message, and this is the option I will use for now. Or you could even use all of them as I do with my personal Facebook account. So let's set this up with the text message option and try the phishing technique with two-factor authentication enabled. Now I will log out and run the phishing tool. So I'll be fast with this since you are already familiar with the process from Zephyr, and I'll only show you the new options. And this is the PowerPhisher tool. Shout out to the developer, Kaz Rudra. And you see it has even more templates, up to 77, and there's also option for you to create a custom template. But I'll choose the same Facebook traditional login page template. And this is the option to add the OTP page, which I can use to steal the security code. Here I will type in the URL that I want the link to look like, and type in the URL of the website that I want the victim to be redirected to after entering the information. So you see, this tool is very advanced. Shout out again to the developer, Kaz Rudra. So it's going to go ahead and generate different links which I can send to the target. So there are different links here with HTTPS that I can use right away, or I can go ahead and create my own custom link. So I will type facebook.com to look like the real Facebook link and just add a good social engineering phrase to make the link look even more interesting that the target will want to follow. And this is the link I'm going to send to the target, Blamando, and let's see how I can use it to steal his login credentials and, most importantly, the OTP or security code. So when Blamando follows the link, he would think this is the real Facebook login page, and just as you saw before, he will go ahead and enter his login information. And as usual, the program will capture the login details. As you see, again, I managed to capture his username or phone number and his password. So I will hurriedly go to the real Facebook website and log in with these login details. Because on the fake website, he will be asked for the two-factor authentication code, and while waiting for the code, since he thinks he's on the real website, he will actually receive the code since I'm going to try a real login on the real Facebook website. So the two of us will be at the authentication page, but he will be viewing the authentication page on the fake website while I'm on the real website waiting to enter the code that I'm going to capture. And once he receives and enters the code, the program will also capture that, which I will now use to complete the two-factor authentication and successfully log into his account. So this tool is really good to use, along with some good social engineering techniques for a phishing attack. As you can see, it also got a lot of other information about the target. So even with two-factor authentication enabled, you could still be a victim to phishing attacks. So the way you protect your account from this technique is to always be careful of the websites you visit and where you provide your account's information. Although the phishing link can be marked to look exactly as a trusted website URL, when you visit the link, it will still change to the original URL, since two websites cannot have the exact same domain name or URL, because domain names are unique. So make sure you keep an eye on the URL section of the browser as well. So I will now quickly move on with the last technique because of time, and I won't send the app and show you how to gain access to the phone. But just know that this technique is even more dangerous because by gaining access to the device, which could be any device, even computer, but I'm just using phone as an example, and specifically Android phone since I'm going to create an Android app. By installing and running the app, also known as a backdoor, the hacker could use that and do a lot more with the phone, like making calls directly from the phone, viewing or sending text messages, or even viewing the contacts or images and videos that could be on the phone, and running other programs on the phone as well. So let me just ensure that I'm set up for this, and I'll just create a simple Android app. The first thing I want to know is my IP address, then I'll move to the desktop where I want to save the app, and then I'll run the command MSF Venom, which is a sub-program of the Metasploit framework, followed by a space, hyphen, and P, which stands for payload. Payload is just the malicious function that I want to infuse into the app, or what I want the app to actually do. And the payload I want to create is the Android Meterpreter Reverse TCP, which will give me a reverse TCP connection to the target's device. If he installs and runs the app, I'll give a space and then set the L host to be equal to my local IP address. This is to specify the computer that will be listening for the connection, which is my computer. And I'll space again and then set the L port to my local port that I want to open for the connection. And I'll space and then type a hyphen and O for output, and this is to specify the file name that I want to give to the app. It can be any name, but it must have the .apk extension, since I'm creating this app to be run on an Android device. And when I hit enter, the program is going to create the payload in the form of an app, and it's through this app or backdoor I'm going to gain access to his phone. But the next thing I need to do is to set up a listener that will be listening for the connection from the target. And to do that, I'll first of all start the MSF console. I'm going to use the exploit multi-handler, change from this default payload to the exact one that I created with the app. So I'll set the payload to be Android Meterpreter Reverse TCP. In case I forgot the options that I need to set for this payload, I'll go ahead and show options, so I can see the payload options for this payload. And the options to set are the L host, which is a required option, and the L port which is also a required option. But since the default L port is already the same as the port that I set when generating the payload, I only need to set the L host, which also need to be the same as the L host that was set when generating the payload. And when I show options again, now I see all the requirements are set. Then I'll go on and exploit. Now I have started a reverse TCP handler that is listening and waiting for the target to connect to my computer. And as soon as he installs and runs the app, a Meterpreter section for his device will open in my terminal, and I can run any command on the phone from right here in my terminal. This is just a simple payload I created just to show you one of the possibilities of a hacker gaining access to your phone. A real hacker will not send you this kind of app, because when you install it, it will just be something with a name like main activity and will do nothing on your phone that will interest you, the user. Once you install this kind of app that will just flash and close and do nothing, the next thing you will most likely do is to uninstall the app. But hackers are smart people and they are thinking ahead of you. So the hacker could develop a fully functional app, or even use an already existing and legit app, or game app for example, and put the payload in the app. When you install the app, it will actually be a game that you can play, but while playing the game, the hacker is accessing your phone on the other end. There are a lot of other easy tools that can automate the process of doing all those things that I did and talked about, like the Fat Rat, Rapid Payload, Evil Draw specifically for Android, but I'm not going to use them. Like I said, this video is not about teaching you hacking, and I think I'm going deep into it now. So to protect yourself from this technique and attack, be careful of the apps that you install on your device. Make sure to install your apps from trusted places. For Android devices, use the Google Play Store, and for iOS devices, use the Apple App Store. Google and Apple always scan and verify the different apps before they get added to their app stores. There are other trusted websites you could get your Android apps from, but it's always recommended to install your apps from the Play Store. Install antivirus programs that could also help you detect malicious programs or activities on your device. And always read and understand the permission that those apps request for while installing them. You don't want to install an app that will ask for permission to make calls from your phone, send text message, record your microphone, record your camera, or asking for permission to do everything with your phone. Yet, some legit apps will ask for certain permissions based on their functions. A video call app, for example, will need the camera or microphone access while the app is in use. A legit app like WhatsApp, for example, will need to access your phone contacts. Some apps will need to know your location based on the function of the app, but you should be suspicious of an app that will ask you for too much or everything. So there you have it, guys. Hope this video was helpful. And like I said from the beginning, this is not to teach you hacking. That's why I didn't even go into details with some of the things I show you. I was mainly concerned about showing you things that you need to know that could help you protect yourself from these hackers. I can't teach you hacking because I feel I'm not the right person to do that, since it's something you need to learn formally with a certain discipline, because getting the knowledge is not to carry on illegal attacks. You need to learn it with good intention and use the knowledge for good reasons. That's why it's called ethical hacking. And just for the record, every time I mention the word hacker or hackers in the video, I was actually referring to the bad hackers or unethical hackers aka black hat hackers. Those are the guys who carry on illegal attacks, and I am not one of them. I have never used the knowledge for the wrong purpose, and I don't intend to ever do that. So thanks for watching. My name is Jerome, and watch out for another video.